What is going down? It is the DeFi Afterparty here, and I got some tickets today for you to get into the Afterparty. Look, this video is about Plazm, PLAZM, just launched several days ago now. I believe we're on day 3. We'll be checking that out in a second of it launching. And in this video, what I want to do is cover the Plazm game. This is a game. And those who know how to play it, those that know how to strategize are going to win. And so that's what I want to go over in this video today, so that you can play the game, whether you are already invested or thinking about investing. I want to show you some things that I learned along the way before the launch and even during the launch. And hopefully this helps you make a decision on whether you're investing or not, or how to invest in the future with these different strategies and this information. So we're here on the chart. And so let's look. This launched back September 29th. It was around 4 p.m. And when the token got created, because this is what they call a creation platform. So in other words, the tokens are not minted before the launch. They're minted at launch or during launch. So basically, the token launched at around $7.50, $7.60, something like that. Went up all the way to about, I believe it was like about $15, $16, something like that. Okay. And then, it's been a couple days. There's trading going on. As you can see over here, there is $8,400 in volume over 24 hours, 272 buys, 32 sells. That says a lot. We're at 400K liquidity. So we're sitting nice there. And the current price is at $12.73. Now, the reason why I'm showing this chart is because Plazm was designed to basically find a floor and hold it with the mechanics of the buy and burn feature and the buy and build feature, which buy and builds liquidity. And so the reason that you need to understand this information is because this means that this protocol, this token, is a long-term play, a long-term strategy, okay? Now, in the initial, they call them cycles, because basically when you create Plazm through the protocol, which is here, when you create it here, you can create up to 77 days. So 77 days is viewed as a cycle, okay? As the creator of Plazm said, AJ has said, if we can get past the 2 first cycles, so basically the first, what is that, 145 days? 145 days or so to build up the treasury, essentially, the money to use towards buyback and burns, and to build up the liquidity as well, the better we will be off for the future or for the long run. And again, here's the reason why. It's because if we can build up enough money to support the buying and selling on the open market, that is basically going to create a floor, meaning a steady price for people to buy and sell out of. Okay, I hope this makes sense. These mechanics are going to do wonders for this in the long run. Now, in the short term, as I was mentioning before, we're probably going to see some volatility. The reason why is because you can create and stake for different amounts of time. So some people will do 30 days. Some people will do 77 days and anywhere in between. And we'll go over that in a little bit. But when their terms are done, when their terms are their length terms are done, completed, that means their tokens are now unlocked and they could do what they want with them, whether that's sell in the open market or they can then restake back in the platform and earn some more. There's a lot of game theory and strategy here, and I've gone over that in some other videos, but I'm kind of giving you the nuts and bolts here because, again, this video is entirely or mostly about strategy, okay? So let's go back here. So we're looking pretty good right now as far as keeping the price like pretty within a $11, $12, $13 range here, right? And the reason why this is great initially is because we're basically building up the buy and burn and we're building up liquidity as we go. Okay, now again, we're in the initial stages. So, and most people have their tokens locked up for 28, 30, and anywhere in between that and 77 days. So, you know, a lot of staking is going on essentially, right? So if we go here to the burn tab on the DApp, we're going to see how much we have to basically, how much money we have to buy and burn Plazm. Okay, so we have 40,000 here. USDC, we have 937 here. And I'm gonna get to kind of like what's the secret sauce behind this in a second. And then we have the buy and build as well. We have 81K here and $403 here USDC, right? So we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good for the start. We've not really had any major drop-offs in price. You know, in the initial launch, of course, that's expected. People are going to buy really low or as low as can be and then sell at the top. And here we are. We're 3 days in or so, and we're doing pretty good on the chart. So let's get back here because now I want to show you something that's really impressive. So I'm going to go down here and we're going to be focusing right here on the DEXFi Vault stats. Okay, this is what is the secret sauce to why I believe Plazm is going to make it as a project that launched and continues to be a successful project that is going to make people money in the long run, not just the short run or the short term, okay? Now remember what I said in the beginning about Plazm was designed to find a floor, right? To find a floor and keep a floor price. That is because we have, not only because the mechanics that are already built into Plazm, but here's the secret sauce. Here's the X factor. Here's the exponential variable that comes into play, which is basically when people invest into Plazm, part of that money goes into the DEXFi Bonds product, which is essentially a sister protocol project of Plazm. Now, what the DEXFi Vaults does, which is right here, let me go here to the Bonds tab because technically this is what the money from Plazm is going into. Essentially, the bonds, what they do is they are providing concentrated liquidity on different DEXs, okay? On basically for different tokens, okay? Let me give you an example here. So you can just go into a vault right here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you the vault because we're going to show this later anyways. But here's a vault called Plazm Core because this has to do with Plazm and this is going to be beneficial. This is part of the strategy, kind of an advanced strategy I'm going to go into a little bit later in this video. But essentially, with these different LPs here, so let's just open this one up. Actually, yeah, let's open up, well, we're already there. So right here, on this LP right here, on the Plazm eShare, if you look at right here where I'm hovering over, Plazm eShare, essentially what DEXFi is doing is providing liquidity on these different LPs, okay? And from DEXFi providing LP there, they get fees, right? Basically, what we're saying here is we're providing liquidity. We're giving money into this DEX for these tokens to provide liquidity. And because we are doing that, that DEX is giving us fees or money back for providing that liquidity. Basically, for lack of a better term, we're giving them money so that we can get some money out. Okay, we're putting in money to make money, right? That's the short of it. So essentially what's happening is when somebody goes into Plazm and creates right here, part of that money is then going into the DEXFi protocol to provide liquidity on different liquidity pairs, okay? Different DEXs. Now that's in the form of what they call DEXFi bonds. So let me just open that up really quick. And the bonds basically is a managed position, if you will, of DEXFi, and they're essentially all their farms and all their vaults that they are in, essentially not privately, but basically what I'm trying to say here is that they're essentially controlling the position of the bonds, right? And essentially what the bonds are is the easy button of doing this. So if this looks all too technical and you don't want to mess with that and you want the easy button, then basically go into the bonds. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because if you go back here to the stats and we look at how much is in essentially the bonds, look how much in just, what are we in, 3 days? September 29th. Yeah, we're in the third day of Plazm going live. And we have, this is the number you need to be looking at right here, $230,000 in the DEXFi bonds. Okay, now let's do some simple math here. The simple math is on in general, the DEXFi bonds are earning 10% per month. Okay, and the reason I'm saying this is very important here because this all rolls back to Plazm. So if you take the number 200, this number right here, 230,000. We're just going to do an even number here, 230,000. And by the way, this is in 3 days that this much money has basically been created and applied towards the bonds. Okay, this is what we call real yield. Okay, the bonds provide real yield. DEXFi is providing real yield, which means real money, right? This is not, money out of thin air. This is not tokens being printed. This is real money from the fees from the DEXs and liquidity pairs that we're providing liquidity for, right? So 230,000. The bonds on average are making 10% a month. So if you take 10% a month, that's $23,000 every month that we are being able to use to buy and burn Plazm and buy and build Plazm. So basically, for lack of a better term, it's $23,000 that we're able to use for the Plazm protocol. How much is that per day? Well, just divide that number roughly by, we'll do an average of 30 days. $766. This is as of now. $766 as of now is being utilized or can be utilized for the Plazm protocol because the money that was created or the money that was used to create Plazm, when each and every one of you has created Plazm just like me, a part of the money that was used to create goes into the DEXFi bonds, which is essentially being put to work for us and for the Plazm protocol in order to, guess what? Stabilize price. Not only stabilize price, but eventually will rise price as the burning starts getting higher, right? And not only is it going to stabilize price and get it higher in the long run, but it's also going to be building liquidity, right? Because here's the thing. We can all have as much Plazm as we want, and the price can go as high as we want, but if there's not enough liquidity there to support it, guess what? It don't matter. That's why, look, most people are not getting this, okay? A lot of people are sleeping. And as the guy that has the tickets to the after party, I'm trying to hook y'all up. All right, look, if you want some tickets, just holler at me. Send me a DM. Find me on Telegram. That's where I'm at, DeFi Afterparty. Anyways, I am just so pumped about this because we are we're doing the damn thing here, and it's only day 3. All right, let's get back to the show here. Where was I? All right, so this is only where we're at now, 230,000, and this is in 3 days. Where does everybody think we're going to be in a month? Okay, I think in a month. I believe in a month we're going to be at the 1 million range as far as the Vault USD balance or the bond balance, right? Now let's do some quick math here because the math needs the math, right? The math be mathing. If we're at 1 million, this number is 1 million, and we're doing on average 10% a month from the bonds. That's $100,000 every month that can be used towards the protocol, right? To buy and burn, buy and build, et cetera, right? To keep the floor, raise the price, build liquidity, right? How much is that per day? That's $3,333 every day that can be utilized to buy and burn and buy and build. Now, what happens when, a year from now or 6 months from now, that this balance here is not 1 million, but it's 10 million? We just 10x what I just said. Now we have $33,333 every day that we're able to utilize to buy and burn Plazm and buy and build. Okay, and when we get there, which we are going to get there, this is going to be insane. Now, what a lot of people probably don't realize is that you might be saying, okay, well, Christian, DeFi Afterparty, like, we're only at this number right now. When we hit 1 million, great. That we can supersede that coming up pretty shortly, like in the next month or so. But 10 million, well, that seems a little far stretched. But here's the deal that a lot of people don't understand, and I'm kicking you some game here. I'm giving you the tickets to the after party, to the DeFi after party. Here's the deal. These bonds, okay, or let me show you this. Okay, I want you to focus right here. See this right here? 35.65? This means that 35% of this vault gets compounded back into the into your capital. 65% profit basically means what you get to take home, right? Now, I'm not exactly sure what the bond strategy is, but essentially it's going to use the same strategy of compounding and profit, which basically is this number right here. It says total claim profits from the bonds is roughly $1,500. I'm not sure if that's today or to date, but either way, it's $1,500, which means and that the other money, the other part of the profit, is compounded back into the balance. So what I'm trying to say here is, when this number gets higher and higher and higher, when it gets to 1 million, we're going to start seeing some serious compounding and some serious exponential growth on this USD balance. That is without new users coming in. This is why AJ's like trying to tell everybody. This is why the creator of Plazm is trying to tell everybody, if we can get past the first 2 cycles, the first 145 days or so, and build up this bond balance, it is going to kick stuff off and get the buy and burn and the buy and build going and be on fire. This is why you shouldn't be sleeping. This is why you should be not being able to sleep. Like, this is insane. And when this is pulled off, this protocol will go down not only in DeFi history, but also in crypto history. 1,000,000%. Now, my personal strategy is this. Let me just show you really quickly my, this is one of my wallets, by the way. Oops, let me make this smaller. Did my wallet disconnect probably? Oh, there it is. I made 2 creations on the first day. This is my basically my tutorial wallet. But my other wallet, what I did was I just started creating. I'm creating 1 creation per day, and for 77 days, and I'm doing that for 30 days. Personally, I'm doing $100 per day for 30 days. That's roughly $3,000 over 30 days at 77 days. The reason why I'm doing this is because I know how these mechanics work, and I'm in this for the long run. Okay? That's what I'm doing. And that's why I'm not going to suggest that you do that, but if you are really hype and believe in Plazm and you can see the vision and what I just explained here with the chart and the bonds and the exponential growth and blah, 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 then by doing what I'm doing, you're going to help the protocol be healthy and get to that 1 million or so initial bond TVL that we need to really take off and sustain. All right. Now, that's my personal strategy. Now, there's community member strategies. Let's talk about that shortly, quickly. So this is from the Telegram chat. A guy named, or a person I should say, called Mujafa. I hope I'm not messing that that name up, but basically he's calling this the dual ladder strategy. Phase 1, build a 30-day ladder. So day 1 through 30, open 1 creation per day. And I would say, do whatever you can afford, right? Don't put rent money, mortgage money, car payment money. Don't do anything crazy like that. Do what you can afford. Play smart. Okay? After day 31 of your creation, so basically this is every day, build a creation, 1 per day, is as much as you can afford. Day 31, your first creation matures, and every day after 31, then you're basically going to have 30 days of creations basically paying out, right? Now, he didn't say this in his post that I found on Telegram, but I'm assuming what he means is you then sell the Plazm on the open market and then move to phase 2, right? I'm also assuming that he is assuming that there's going to be, it's going to be worth it to sell Plazm on the open market for a profit, okay? Now, these strategies will change and things will change as we see what really happens after the first 30 days or so of Plazm, because, like I said, there's probably going to be volatility in price. So you got to learn how to play the game in order to play it and win, okay? But phase 2, you split the rewards from basically the phase 1 creations, and 50% of those profits goes into a new 30-day creation, which keeps the ladder alive. 20% of the profits goes into a new 77-day creation, long-term compounding. 20% you go buy eShare, and 10% basically you do what you want. Okay? So if you add all these percentages up, 50, 70, 90, that's 100%. 100% of the money from here, from phase one creations, will go into doing this. Okay? Now these are just some community member strategies. Okay? Do what you want with them. Okay? After phase two, sell Plazm on open market and then move to phase three. After day 108, 77-day ladder active. When each 77-day create matures, 30% profit taken out. I'm assuming that means just put in your wallet, do what you want. 70% reinvest, sell to ETH, new 77-day create, plus 20% from 30-day ladder keeps feeding 7-day ladder. So basically, what I'm taking from this is take some money out, put in your wallet, do what you want with it, then use the rest of the money to go reinvest in some new creations. Okay. Now, Grover, another community member from Telegram, his ladder strategy basically is weekly. So do a creation once a week for 4 weeks. Do as much as you can afford. Do 28-day terms. Wait until they mature. And at week 5 through 10, when they mature, then you follow this strategy. Reinvest the original capital plus 40% of the profit into a new 28-day. Wait 3 days, use another 40% of the profit, start a 42-day creation or stake, and then keep the rest of the profit as gain, put in your wallet. Okay. Now, moving on to middle phase. When these terms of the 28 term matures, reinvest the original plus 50% profit, goes to a new 28-day, keep 50% profit as gain. When a 42-day term matures, reinvest original plus 40% profit into the new 42-day. After 3 days, use 40% profit and start a 77-day. Okay. Essentially, what basically is happening here is both these strategies are basically DCAing in and DCAing out. And while basically, for lack of a better term, they're playing the safe route, and they are creating the best opportunity for Plazm to not only be successful in the beginning, but successful in the long run. Okay? Because again, the more we can build up the bond treasury, if you will, and get that to 1 million as soon as possible, the better off we're going to be. That's my opinion. No financial advice. Do your own research. Now, long-term phase, when any I think it's supposed to say position, 28-day, 42-day, 70-day matures, reinvest original plus 50% profit, same term length, keep 50% profit as gain. Again, these are all just initial strategies here. When we see the first 30 days or after the first 30 days of Plazm and the price and what's going on and all this kind of stuff, these might change a little, but essentially, again, these are just a safe route. All right, moving on. Let's go back here. Now, how DEXFi vaults play in strategies, I already went over this. This is basically building up money in the bonds that we're making fees on. That money is then being used to buy and burn and buy and build. Buy and burn Plazm, buy and build liquidity so that we can keep a floor price as steady as possible and slowly but surely raise that floor price and then raise liquidity at the same time. Remember, long-term, we need to have a long-term vision here in order for this to work. So now, DEXFi bonds equals even the playing field because just what I said. And lastly, here's what I want to talk about. Let's see here. This is going to be a little more advanced strategy, but and no one's really been talking about this. Apparently, this vault was just created recently. But look, if you're bullish on Plazm and you really want it to succeed, here's what you should do. If you have some $100 laying around and you don't really care what happens to it, or you sell some Plazm eventually and take some of that profit and put it in here, here's what will happen. This is going to help the protocol. This is going to help Plazm. If you go and invest $100, you can do more, but just $100, I would say minimum, and everybody did that, we would be sitting pretty here in this Plazm Vault that basically is providing liquidity for the Plazm eShare pair, for the WETH GDEX pair, and then the WETH eShare pair, right? And when you do that, that is basically going to help the protocol out. And on top of that, you're going to get USDC back at around as of today, 0.2% back on your capital or your deposit. Okay, pretty freaking cool. You can find this Plazm Core Vault on DEXFi.com. Just go to the Vault dashboard and type in Plazm Core, and you'll find it there. If you need a tutorial on how to do this, you could either YouTube basically DEXFi vaults and search for some tutorials, or if you look at my channel there, well, I did a long overview with AJ, one of the founders of DEXFi, and how to, how these vaults work and stuff like that. But there's tons of tutorials out there already. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, this is a game. This is the new DeFi game on Base, okay? And if you learn how it works and you learn how to play it, you're going to win, okay? And one of the best ways to learn how to play it, if you're not invested already, is to invest. Go invest $5, $10, right? Get in the game, see how it works, right? Because really, you don't really learn these things until you get in the game. And Plazm is currently the game that you want to be getting into. All right, guys. I'm out. Thank you for watching this video. I got the tickets for you to the after party. Let's freaking go.